This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, brought to you by the Iowa Soybean Association, your daily recap of the information that affects Iowa's farmers, producers, and consumers, right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning broadcast team of Dustin Hoffman, Riley Smith, and Mark Magnuson. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Dustin Hoffman.
Well, good day, everyone, and welcome to Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Dustin Hoffman. Today is Monday, September the 16th, 2024. So glad you could join us here as we begin the second half of the month of September. Coming up a little later on in the program, we will be talking with Robin Schmahl of agmarket.net to look at the closing markets. But for right now, let's go into our news story for the day. And we talked with the folks at Hoegemeyer Hybrids as we are looking at a harvest that could be one for the record books in many parts of the Corn Belt. However, Mother Nature still hasn't decided to play nicely as there's a lot of dryness, especially in parts of Iowa after record-setting wetness that we saw earlier in the year. I had the chance to catch up with the folks at Hoegemeyer Hybrids at the Farm Progress Show and see what they're seeing for performance of their hybrids in their stronghold of western Iowa and eastern Nebraska.
Here at the Hoegemeyer booth, talking with Eric Solberg. And first of all, thanks for taking a few minutes to talk to us about Hoegemeyer Hybrids.
Oh, you bet. My pleasure.
So I know you guys are primarily out in that western part of Iowa into Nebraska. You know, tell us a little bit about the things you're seeing out there and, you know, some of the things that your seeds are doing out there this year.
So first off, we're super excited about the growing season we've had this year. Yields look phenomenal, especially in some of the new technologies we're introducing this year. We're coming out with our unlimited grade soybeans, which is just enhanced agronomics, endless yield potential, and just a whole new varieties of soybeans coming up for this year. On the corn, we're offering new Vorseed technology, new rootworm technology, plus 240 tolerance, and our PowerCore Enlist trait technology we're offering this year as well.
And so seeing some of those hybrids out there either being tested or being out in the fields right now, I mean, what kind of results are you seeing from the farms?
You know, it's like we're taking a step change on corn yields. Looking at the newer corns we've come up with this year, doing some plots already last week. It's just amazing what we're seeing out there. Our current lineup looks great, but just being able to see what's coming, what we're looking forward to selling for this next year. And on the beans, looking forward to the unlimited grade in our new soybean launch for 25. I mean, it's just that forward breeding. This is the first trait these soybeans have ever seen. So just this forward breeding, the yield advantage year over year we're seeing in these unlimited grade soybeans.
And one thing we've been hearing about, obviously Northwest Iowa had weather challenges, and no matter how much your trait technology is working, you're going to have to fight those challenges. But what we've been hearing, though, is that crops have been looking good where they haven't been affected by the weather in that part of the country.
Yes, so if you get to the northern part of Iowa, if you didn't plant in the very first planting window in May or in April, unfortunately, the rain didn't shut off until you got to late May into June. So that is one area that has unfortunately struggled a lot. The end part of April seems like we had some challenges getting in the field with emergence, but if you planted either in early April or early into the middle of May, things are looking very, very strong. Yep.
And that kind of situation does give us, you know, extra obviously challenges, but the genetics, I mean, obviously we have crop protection programs and stuff, but the genetics go a long way in getting that crop started off quite well to be able to handle everything that's
going on. Sure. When you look at the trials that we put our products through to make sure that they make it to market, that they do have that strong emergence score, that they do have those roots, because one thing you need in Iowa is strong roots. So the three criteria we look for when we're introducing a product is strong roots, strong stalks, and strong brittle snap tolerance. If it doesn't pass those three check marks, it doesn't come to Iowa.
Now, I know before we went on, you made the comment about being excited for next year. Tell us what some of the things you guys are talking to farmers about, what they can get ready for next year.
Mainly the things we're talking about is our new traits. I mean, this is like an industry. We only get to talk about new traits about every 10 to 15 years. And the exciting thing is the traits that we're coming forward with, Corteva developed. We're not getting them from someone else. So it's not very often that we can say they're ours. Okay, other people want to plant our traits, but we're launching our own traits in our proprietary genetics. So that's super exciting.
And of course, Hoegemeyer has been around for a long time. They've been at this game for a long time, so they know the importance of having strong genetics and getting the breeding programs in place to bring the best thing they can forward.
Yes, and the other thing that we really value is just our relationship with our growers, our dealers. I mean, we are the ones who are recommending these products to our dealers, to the farmers, and they're so valuing that relationship above everything is most important to us.
So if there's a farmer out there that maybe isn't quite happy with what they're seeing in their fields this year, thinking about making a switch, what is it about Hoegemeyer they should really consider for next year?
Well, I hope that we have that relationship where they can call and talk to us about it, and we can address his needs first thing.
All right. Well, Eric, I thank you so much for taking the time to visit with us today.
Good to talk to you.
That again was Eric Solberg of Hoegemeyer Hybrids. We're going to take a short break and hear from our sponsor, the Iowa Soybean Association and the Soy Checkoff. When we come back, we're going to look at the closing market recap. This is Ag Matters PM.
Iowa Soybean Association is driven to deliver for Iowa's 40,000 soybean farmers. We're proud to provide objective agronomic research, a helping hand with soil and water stewardship, and timely industry news powered by the Soybean Checkoff. Learn more at iasoybeans.com.
It's time now for the Ag Matters PM Closing Market Summary, your source for market analysis and settlement prices from the day's trade in Chicago, courtesy of the folks at agmarket.net. Well, we're back on AMPM here on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. Time to look at the closing markets, being joined right now by Robin Schmahl of agmarket.net. Robin, starting out the week, what are we looking at in those grains?
Well, grain struggled a little bit, basically corn and soybeans at least. Soybeans spent some time negative and then sometime positive, but really didn't accomplish a whole lot for the day. Now, the WASDE report from last week's been digested. So that's in the market already. It really wasn't a big type of a report. So now the market or traders are looking at the weather situation, the yields that'll be coming out, weather in South America and the dryness there. And that's what they'll be focusing on now going forward. The export inspections this morning, corn was 20.516 million bushels. Last week it was 18.563, so a little higher. Soybeans were higher at 14.745 million bushels compared to 10.042 million last week. Wheat was at 20.462 million bushels compared to 22.810 last week, so just a little bit less there. NOPA crush for August was 158.1 million bushels. The estimate was 171.3, so we were quite a bit below the estimate. So, but it didn't. It did have probably one reason why we saw meal higher, because when it doesn't quite meet the estimate, sometimes the market trades a little opposite. That's could be one explanation for that. Now, the grain options for October expire on Friday. I don't think that's much of an issue, but just to keep that in the back of your mind, they do expire on Friday. Crop conditions, they're looking at corn 63% good to excellent this week. Harvest at 10% done. Soybeans at 64% good to excellent. Harvest at 4% done. Spring wheat harvest at 92%, and winter wheat planted at 13%. Now, there was a private sale of 100,000 metric tons of soybeans to China. India moved to raise their import tax on edible oil by 20%. That's detrimental to Argentina, because Argentina ships most of the highest percentage of their soybean oil over to India. So that's going to have an impact on them.
All right, switching over to the livestock side of things, cattle and hogs, what do we see come out of there today?
Well, cattle struggled. I mean, they were swinging back and forth. Really, live cattle stayed lower most of the day. Cash was steady last week, so there was some anticipation, maybe optimism will be a little bit higher, that feedlots are going to hold out for no less than steady cash this week. So, but again, it's too early. We have the cattle on feed report coming out on Friday. It's too early for the traders to look at that. They really didn't have a lot to go by. There is some lingering concern over box beef prices, although the price was higher at midday today, but last week we saw mostly lower prices overall. That's a concern as far as the demand sector is. Midday report showed choice up 6 cents and select up 163. We'll find out where the end of the day holds, but there is concern over that in the cattle industry. And packers didn't buy a whole lot of cattle last week for deferred delivery. So there is some discussion. Maybe they'd have to be a little more aggressive this week, but I'm not sure if that's really the case, because they had purchased some earlier already the last few weeks for deferred deliveries. On the hog side, they did find some good buying interest today from traders, which is a little surprising because we did not see much support from cash or cutouts last week. But it did take the futures from the bottom of the trading range that had developed last week, pushed them through the upper part of the trading range, but they weren't able to hold those highs, falling back. So they're kind of sitting in a sideways trading range here. Support is not coming from higher cash, as the National Direct midday report showed a decline of 94 cents. So that's starting out the week a little bit slower. And cutouts, though it did show some life at $1.09 higher, hopefully we'll be able to find a little bit or uncover a little bit more packer interest by the end of the day.
All right. Well, Robin, if folks want to talk about some market strategies or see what's going on, we want to talk with the folks at agmarket.net. What's the best way for them to get in touch?
And call me at 877-256-3253. Or if they prefer to go to our website, agmarket.net, there's an 844 number there listed. Just feel free to give us a call.
All right, Robin, we thanks so much for the insight, and we'll talk to you again real soon.
All right. Thank you, and we'll see you later.
And that again was Robin Schmahl of agmarket.net. Let's go ahead and look at the closing numbers here on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network market screen.
December corn was down 2.5 at 4.10 3/4. Soybeans down 1 3/4 at 10.04 1/2. Soy meal up $1.70 at 320.10 per ton. Soy oil 22 cents higher, 39.75. Chicago wheat down 16 1/4 at 5.78 1/2. Kansas wheat down 19 1/2 at 5.80 1/2. Minneapolis spring wheat down 15 3/4 at 6.19 3/4. Oats down 13 3/4 at 3.63 1/4. Live cattle 42 cents lower at 177.22. Feeders up 12 cents at 239 even. Lean hogs $1.47 higher at 79.92. Pork cutouts unchanged at 91.55. And Class 3 milk 38 cents lower at 23.64.
And that's been our closing market recap, and that brings us to the end of today's show. You can find all our content online at iowaagnet.com. Also, don't forget about the free market podcasts that bring analysis to your mobile device 3 times a day. You can find them on Amazon, Apple, Google, Spotify, and Podbean. From the IARN studios in Des Moines, I'm Dustin Hoffman. For Andy Peterson, Riley Smith, and Mark Magnuson, we thank you for watching. This has been Ag Matters PM.